Hello guys, you all are welcome back to the Pygame series. In our last class, we were able to animate our goblin and then we were able to spawn multiple enemy on the screen. So in this tutorial, we are going to delete the enemy. As you can see, once the enemy leaves the screen, it will not be deleted and sooner or later it will be slowing our game down. So I'm going to be deleting the enemy once they leave the screen, and then I'm going to create a collision just like I said in the last class between the player and the enemy. So let's get back to our code. Then I'm going to go to our enemy spawn function. Then I will come to where we are returning the enemy list, and then I will say enemy list, which is equal to this list. And then in the list we have enemy, and then for for each enemy in the sorry, I thought it was English. For each enemy in enemy list, as for each enemy in the enemy list, then enemy width if enemy.x as their width is greater than let's say if it's 0, that's when they are leaving the screen. They have not yet leave the screen, but you remember they are starting from 780. So when they come to 0, at that point they are in between the screen. But I just want to show you that they are really going to be deleted. So I'm going to set it to positive 10. At that moment they will still be in the screen. So let's see what will happen now. So let's watch out, and nothing is happening. I'm going to go back to this. Okay, look at what we forgot. We needed to like add enemy list there. Sorry, not like that. Enemy list, and let's say again then enemy in enemy list if enemy is greater than 10. Then we'll rerun our code and wait for our enemy to see if it's going to be deleted. And as you can see, once our enemy is in this position, it will be deleted and it will not be in the list anymore. So in this case now, we are not going to leave it 10, we are going to leave it in minus 100, so that at that moment it will be outside the screen. So it will be deleted outside the screen. And then the next thing I said we are going to do is collision. So I think I'm going to create a function for our collision at the top here. Then I'm going to name it collision. Then def collision. And our collision is going to have two parameters. First is the enemy, and second is the player, because that's the two objects we want to collide. Then we are going to say if enemy, that is if there is enemy, then for enemy rect in enemy, the argument is going to be the enemy list. So for each enemy rect in enemy, then if enemy dot collide rect, if enemy collide with our player here, and our player argument is going to be the player rect, then there will be a collision here. But I don't think you have to do that to check, but it's not really. So if this happens, then there are going to be a collision, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say our run, which we know we have set to true. I'm going to set the run to false, and then pygame dot quit. So we are going to quit our game at this point if they both collide, and then I'm going to call my collision. So I'm going to go down to call my collision. I'll call my collision around here. Collision. The first argument, which is for the enemy, is the enemy rect list, and then the second argument is the player rect. So with this, I think they are going to be a collision if they collide. So I'm going to save this now, and then let's see what will happen if they both collide. So if enemy collide, player rect. So object has no attribute collide rect. Okay, so I think we made one mistake that we have to adjust in our collision. So here we are not supposed to use this our enemy collide again, because enemy is going to be the list of all the rectangles in our enemy rect list. This is one element in our list, so instead of using the list, the entire list, we replace the one element with the list. So if any of the elements collide with our player, then there will be a collision and the game will quit. And you see it's working perfectly now. So the collision, our collision is working well. And let me try it again to make sure that it's working fine. So you can see I will jump, and if I collide, then the game will start working. So we have our collision. Then one more thing that I want to do, one more thing that I have to do. Let me clear my screen first. Then I want to like show a blue background each time we collide. Each time there's a collision, I don't just want to close the game. I want there to apply a blue background, which I think in our next tutorial we are going to be working on it. I'm going to check our variables here, and I'm going to say game active equal to true, and then I'm going to come to where we defined all of our function here, and I'm going to say if game active, I believe the spelling is wrong, so it's supposed to be game active. I don't know, I'm kind of terrible in some of these spellings, so I'll go back and change the C to V and back to where we are calling it. So I think I need a space down. So if game active, that is if our game is active, then I want all this code here to be working fine, including the collision too. But I think I caught the collision in the wrong place. So the collision should be at the top of my game, but anyway, I think the game update should be the last thing here. I'm going to move the collision to the top, and then I'm going to paste it here. So while my game is active, all this is going to work, but if the game is not active, else if the game is not active, I want to what did I want to do if the game is not active? I want to make the screen to be fill the screen with a color, something like that. So I can say screen dot fill with blue color. That should be a string blue. So while my game is active, all this will be working. If the game is not active, then the screen is going to be filled with blue color. Then I think there's one more thing I have to do again, because I want to use my collision to control it as well. I'm going to go back to my collision function. So instead of just quitting the game and everything leaving the screen, I'll just return, if they collide, I will return false, and then this false will deactivate my game, and then here I will return true if nothing happened. So if nothing happened, there's no collision, I'll return true. But if there's a collision, I'm going to return false, and then I'm going to set my game active to my collision so that it will work effectively. So I'm going to say game active equal to this collision, and I believe everything is going to work perfectly now. So let's try and see. And this is not working fine. Oh no, this is not what we're expecting. I think something is wrong. So let's check our code out. Okay, look at what we did here. This was what was wrong with our code. It's supposed to be here. While we were indenting, we are not supposed to indent our display update. We are supposed to indent everything inside the code except for our Pygame display update. So now I'm going to save my code and I'm going to run it again. And we have our game working fine now. So when it collide now, you see we have a blue screen, and then if we try it again, our game is back again, and then when it's collide, we have a blue screen. So in our next tutorial, we are going to work on this blue screen. We are going to display our score and then a little message below, and then the player here, something like that, just like the way you saw in my game that I displayed earlier. So if you really enjoyed this, I would love to see you in my next tutorial. Thank you.